You have reached Barrow County 911. We are experiencing a high call volume.
Please, my daughter calling me crying.
All I know is that right now she's hiding out. She hears people yelling outside.
Boom, 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 boom.
Can you tell me if the shooter is still active? Is it still active?
My husband's a
This is
teacher.
where the 3 kids, student teacher just got shot.
In the Apalachee High School.
We do have an active situation at Apalachee High School right now.
Okay, well,
We have a lot of calls coming in. We can have units on.
You just stay talking to her, okay?
It was nothing like I'd ever seen before.
This doesn't happen here.
When you're like ducked in a corner with 25, 14-year-olds and all you can hear is gunfire, you just like accept the fact you're gonna die.
Too many of our kids in the state of Georgia are either being killed intentionally or unintentionally by firearms.
I didn't know if I was gonna be wheeled out or if I was gonna walk out.
He made a conscious decision. He had a plan.
When we talk about shootings, we're like, oh, another one. Because they just keep happening.
We're so much more than that.
Resilience and the strength and the love that came after it, that's our community.
I wish that Colt would have given the system an opportunity to love him.
He has affected all of our lives forever. He has halted our learning. He has made a lot of people very, very afraid, and he has taken people from us.
It's an epidemic. Why aren't we doing something about it?
We will rise.
Coming on the air with breaking news about a deadly school shooting in Winder, Georgia.
We heard the first round of gunshots.
We're talking about multiple injuries.
I mean, when you're like ducked in a corner with 25, 14-year-olds and all you can hear is gunfire, you just like accept the fact you're gonna die.
4 people dead.
I'm going to get killed, and all of these children that I'm supposed to be protecting are also going to get killed with me.
It began as just another day at Apalachee High School in Barrow County, Georgia, until
Around 10, 15, 10, 20, my phone began alerting, and then I got alert, got another one, and I thought, well, it's malfunctioning.
it was no malfunction. Apalachee High School Strategic Security Alert System sends alerts straight to local law enforcement. These alerts were because a freshman student had gone into the bathroom and come out shooting.
I was really scared. Like, I didn't know if I was gonna be wheeled out or if I was gonna walk out.
The suspect, 14-year-old Colt Gray.
So Colt got on the bus about 7:30 that morning.
He carries an object that looks like a school project, wrapped in poster board. Inside the poster board, an AR-style semi-automatic rifle with multiple magazines. Multiple rounds. Jeremy Thayer and Jeremy Mixon were two of the first responders to race to the scene.
We're actually at the grocery store getting groceries for lunch and dinner, and had come outside and tones dropped for, it was multiple vehicles.
At first we kind of thought, like, this is a drill they didn't tell us about. When you see about 20, 30 cop cars come up behind you, you know this is it. It's a real deal.
As an emergency responder for Barrow County for 30 years, Kevin Locke has seen plenty.
I have been on bad calls. I've been doing this for a really long time, and I've been in a lot of really, really bad situations. We'll say it was nothing like I'd ever seen before.
Laura Smith couldn't believe such a really bad situation was happening in her daughter's own school.
You know, I think it's something that you think happens far away, and you don't realize that it's gonna hit home, and
It all happened so fast.
So around 10:20ish or so is when the shooting begins from him.
The two SROs in the building, Brandon King and Chase Boyd, were in the hub of the school and heard the first shot go off.
He went to a door that was left open by mistake. That's where he initiated his first contact with Christian Angelo, who was killed first.
Then he shot into that classroom, injuring several others. Christina Irmi, a beloved teacher, was the next victim.
Miss Aramy opened her door to come out, the first teacher, and he shoots at her and hits her. She falls into the classroom.
She dies at the scene. 2 coaches hear more gunshots.
Coach Phoenix and Coach Aspinwall exit their classroom. They're actually going to investigate and probably trying to take him down. As he is backing up the hallway, he sees them and begins shooting at them.
Only 1 coach survived.
Coach Phoenix was shot, I think, 6 or 7 times and survived. Coach Aspinwall was shot multiple times and did not survive.
Gray keeps moving, just as 14-year-old Mason Schermerhorn runs out of the bathroom.
And he ran right into Colt, and Colt shot him pretty close range and murdered him there in the hallway. He fell.
First responders arrived in the school's J Hall. They were met with this scene.
And you just walk through like this thick cloud of smoke. There's gun smoke everywhere. It smells like smoke. There's like bullet casings like on the ground.
And dust shaken from the ceiling tiles clouding the air.
It looks like snow. And it gets very difficult to see. And as the deputies turn the corner, they can't see more than about 15 or 20 feet, but they never stopped. They start charging him.
1 minute and 30 seconds later.
They're charging and giving him verbal commands, and he listens. By the grace of God, he listens and does what they're supposed to do. He gives up, puts his hands on the ground, prones out like he had done it before.
I walked past the kid. I walked past the kid 45 minutes before he did it.
I remember thinking, he's younger than my kids. He probably weighs 140 pounds.
He heard those deputies giving him commands. He realized, I got to stop. And someone said, well, maybe he turned into a 14-year-old and not the monster that he was during the 20, 30 seconds that he was.
The SROs had Colt Gray handcuffed within 1 minute and 10 seconds. He's been charged a total of 55 times, including 4 counts of felony murder, 25 counts of aggravated assault, and 18 counts of first-degree cruelty to children. His father, Colin Gray, is charged 29 times, also including second-degree murder, second-degree cruelty to children, involuntary manslaughter, and more. Police stopped the shooting. Now others went to work.
So we go in and they said, medic, medic, and they pointed to our first patient, who was a deceased young male.
First thing we do is stop the killing, then we stop the dying.
4 are already dead. 9 are wounded.
We have a trauma triage system. So our job as the first RTF team is to basically go in, treat what we can, move on, tag them, so we have a tagging system, and move on.
It's not an easy job.
The only thing that really, kind of got to me was when I went into one of the classrooms and one of the victims was there, and I saw the wedding ring. That was tough.
Several of those who survived saw things they wish they could forget.
30 seconds after the ambulances showed up, you just started seeing body bag after body bag. After seeing that, I was like, I can't watch this anymore.
As first responders and law officials worked inside the school, others evacuated students and teachers to the football field. Their arms had to stay up, their phones out of reach.
When you go in the school, there wasn't a whole lot going on outside. When we came out, it was crazy. I mean, there were lights everywhere, cars everywhere, people everywhere.
Yeah, I can't just explain how horrible everything is.
And then, dozens of panicked parents.
I haven't told you this, but I just kept saying the whole time in the car with Daddy, I just kept saying, please don't take my child. I just kept saying, I was like, Lord, please don't take my child.
For 30 minutes, she waited for an answer.
I have her. And just realizing she was safe. And that there were some parents who couldn't say that.
While the system couldn't protect the 4 who lost their lives, law enforcement believes that the response to this shooting was still different from others the country has seen.
The reaction time there was not to wait, and I'm told that this is one of the first ever 0 preventable death active shooters in the history of the United States.
It is also one of the few where an active shooter was taken down, alive.
If there was a silver lining in anything, the quickness of our reactions probably saved lives and stop this evil act.
No one hesitated. There was no hesitation on should I go in, should I not go in, do it, is this scene safe?
Which is our response teams. They're heroes as well because they go in unarmed. They have vests, they have helmets, kind of like us. They're not able to defend themselves. They have medical bags. They have the gear for us to render aid to people.
EMT Jeremy Thayer has his own explanation.
There's no explanation other than God put people where he needed them for what he needed them for. And that's, I mean, there's no other way around it.
What was the first thing you did when you got home that day?
Oh, wow, that's a great question.
We just all sat in there and cried for the next day. That's all we could do.
Hug my children. Hug my wife. Easy.
I hug my baby girl.
September 24th, 2024 is the day we reclaim Apalachee High School. It is our school and we are Chi Nation. You are Chi Nation.
Principal Jessica Rayberg read this message over the intercom to her students on their first day back.
And please know that among us are heroes. Your community and this country have also donated many things to help you process and heal. Please know that you are adored and I especially love you.
It was a difficult note to write.
I mean, I can't get through it. Even now, it was hard to write. It was hard to say. I had to clear the front office just to be able to speak.
Returning to school has been hard on both the students and the staff, but they're working on getting back to a familiar feeling.
We need to put up posters about baseball, and we need to put up homecoming, names and faces. We need to put up photos, new projects. We need to put up assignments. We need to do things in these halls that we've always done because all of our students deserve a high school experience.
The community has been drained during this process, but in the halls of the school, resilience and care is clear.
It was also important for my students to know that they are this place and that those names and helps and supports and donations are wonderful and they make us smile for a minute. But we close and lock these doors, and it's us.
On September 4th, the swift response of Chase Boyd and Brandon King saved lives.
From the first shot, Deputy King and Sergeant Boyd, and they had him handcuffed in roughly about a minute and 10 seconds.
Parents in nearby counties noticed.
After all, Oconee County is committed to student success. But we know that student success cannot be achieved without the provision of safety. We are asking tonight for the board to prioritize the implementation of an SRO program as an additional layer of security and prevention to be placed in all 12 of our schools.
In neighboring Oconee County, the Apalachee shooting signaled a need for further measures.
The conversation of SROs has been happening for the last 5 years, but we just had not implemented that plan yet until, the incident at Apalachee happened.
Officers like Boyd and King learned to respond to threats here. The Georgia Public Safety Training Center.
They learn everything from how to build rapport with students, as well as being able to detect situations at home.
Outside of the classroom, officers are taught Kevlar shield tactics, firearm training, and mock exercises.
When it comes to active threats, we feel that a hands-on approach is more memorable, and it's sticky, if you will, when it comes to retention of what will later need to be used to protect children.
The resource officers were the first line of defense at Apalachee. But another element was the school's security system, Centegix.
And we had got the alert from Centegix on our phone. We had put this Centegix alert system in. I've been working on it about a year. It had gone into working a week prior, and we were doing beta testing on it.
Centegix works by allowing teachers to press a button on their badge, signaling a lockdown alert. After the button is pressed, police, on-site administrators, and the school members itself are simultaneously notified of the threat. After the shooting, Madison County has started to adopt the Centegix system, joining Athens-Clarke, Barrow, Jackson, and Oconee counties. Captain Jimmy Patton of Madison County Sheriff's Office has been leading security improvements.
We have a meeting with our school system every year prior to the beginning of the school year where we go over the school safety plan. The alert system that they use, that's something that we're encouraging with our school system.
The reason for the adoption of these new policies is the preventative role they played.
Tragedy that it could have been a lot worse if that school system those teachers hadn't been trained to lock the doors immediately, which prevented a greater loss in life than they had.
But no system is perfect. As Executive Director for Safe Havens International, Michael Dorn puts it.
That system is extraordinarily expensive, and you have to remember under extreme stress to tap the button.
While a high price point may turn some away, for Athens-Clarke County Superintendent Dr. Robbie Hooker, you can't put a price on safety.
It's expensive, but if it's going to save a life, it's worth investing in that.
Led by Dr. Hooker, Athens-Clarke County aims to increase the security in its school system.
I'm hoping in our legislative priorities for this upcoming year that we will receive additional funds from our governor to assist our schools in not only increasing the number of officers, but increasing other safety measures to improve the safety for all students.
The other added safety measures include more help for students' mental health, a focus shared by all neighboring counties. From the school boards,
mental health is a serious issue. We put into place just better interactions with our SROs and our security forces and interacting with students, but having the mental health counselors have really helped us.
Coney Sheriff James Hale agrees.
We're not mental health professionals, but we need more mental health professionals to mitigate some of these incidences and then also utilize us in that case to where we can work together.
It's a position that Angel supports.
From building that rapport and getting to have a baseline of the students so that they can identify when they're not themselves, right? And they see them every day, kind of like a teacher. They see them every day and they start to know, hey, something's wrong with little Joey, and being able to have those conversations in real time.
Experts say mental health remains as crucial to school safety as the security system and officers in place.
I think to improve school safety in any school systems, it starts with home.
There's a lot of focus, I think, globally on mental health and the importance of seeking mental health supports. And we're lucky that our incident has occurred during those talks where people feel strength in seeking support.
But I think there is an attitude of inevitability that is really pervasive when it comes to how we react to shootings.
Delaney Tarr has battled that attitude since the day a gunman killed 17 of her classmates in 2018 at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. She began by co-founding March for Our Lives, a national gun violence prevention group that demanded legal reforms after the Parkland shooting.
So no to us was unheard of. We weren't going to accept it as the way the world works.
Legislators in Florida passed red flag laws a month after the 17 students were murdered. These laws allow law enforcement officers to temporarily remove firearms from individuals deemed a danger to themselves or others. Georgia is one of the 29 states with no red flag laws. Since Georgia Governor Brian Kemp took office in 2018, 36 gun-related bills have been introduced in the State House and Senate. Kemp has signed 4 into law: a Firearm Industry Non-Discrimination Act, and 3 bills related to the 2021 Constitutional Carry Act. But legislators across the state say they plan to bring more gun-related bills to the table in 2025. Georgia Speaker of the House John Burns released a statement on September 12th, a week after the Apalachee shooting. He gave 5 goals for the 2025 legislative session: mandatory student mental health monitoring, expanding access to statewide mental health care, new firearm detecting technology in schools, increased penalties for terroristic threats, and the reintroduction of safe storage legislation. Personal responsibility over guns in homes is a recurring theme among legislators who spoke with us.
We got to do more in requiring those that own firearms to store them safely.
Georgia State Senator Emmanuel Jones is the chairman of the Safe Firearm Storage Study Committee.
It's not a red or blue issue. This is not a Republican or Democratic issue. These unintentional and some of the intentional shootings in our great state, particularly those as it pertains to young people, is all of our issue. And the only way we're going to solve it is all of us working together.
Committee member Frank Ginn is a Republican state senator representing part of Barrow County, Georgia, where the Apalachee shooting happened. Ginn says he will focus on tightening laws for parents with guns in the next legislative session.
One of the things that I'm going to be pushing for is how do we tighten the reach of the law on parents that are neglectful and thoughtless to allow for an unsupervised youth to have access to any type of firearm.
Colin Gray marks the second instance of a parent's arrest in connection to their child's firearm activity. The first were Jennifer and James Crumley, who were arrested and convicted on 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter of 4 students their son killed in Michigan in 2021. Georgia's U.S. Senator John Ossoff says he will focus on the bipartisan Safer Communities Act when Congress is back in session. But he said that it's not just a federal government issue.
A gunshot wound is the leading cause of death for children 1 to 18 in the United States. And that's something that the state legislature needs to take up.
Jones agrees.
It gave us a much bigger purpose than I ever thought we would have during this study committee.
A group of students and pediatricians visited the Georgia Capitol on September 19th, calling for stricter gun laws. They gave Jones this poster. He keeps it in sight as a reminder of the work he wants to do.
They would send on us, and their message was too many of our kids in the state of Georgia are either being killed intentionally or unintentionally by firearms. It's an epidemic. Why aren't we doing something about it?
A statement from Governor Kemp's spokesperson said his office will review the policy proposals put forward and, just as last year, work with the legislature in the upcoming session. But until the session begins in January, Georgians won't know how or if state legislators will respond.
But there are still wounds, there are still scars, and those I don't think go away. And I don't think you want them to. I think you want to be able to remember your community both as it was before and as it is after.
Ribbons and bows.
We ended up tying over 1,600.
Painted storefronts.
We wanted it to feel personal from them to show their support for Apalachee.
Cards and letters of love. All steps to healing following a tragedy that left a community-sized scar.
You know, I've got kids in the school system, and you just never think it's going to happen here.
But it did. And now the families here have to pick up the pieces.
We're as good as we can be, which isn't great, but we're okay if we're together.
Lots of people, lots of love. The cameras turned off, and the major news networks, they're gone. So what's left? A community that has to find its way forward.
We're gonna mourn. We're going to consider the loss, and it'll be with us for a while, but we're gonna come back.
A small community that's now on a long and growing list of school shooting locations.
We're this tiny little small town that's now on the map of, you know, everybody knows us for this tragic thing.
But they don't want to be known for just this.
I don't want Winder to be defined as one of those towns that, you know, had a school shooting, because we're so much more than that.
Businesses in and around Barrow County pitch in.
I think that coming together to heal gives me the most comfort.
Many business owners ask one simple question.
We've seen so many of our businesses, first of all, reach out, number one, and say, how can we help?
That reaction to the school shooting is revealing another side to his community.
We didn't realize how strong, how caring, and committed we were.
Ann's Flowers was one of the first businesses to step up.
I started it the day after. Yeah, we brainstormed that night.
After that night, these blue and gold ribbons were all over the town.
People will be able to have a tangible item that they can take home and display in their yard or their home.
It was a process that required all hands on deck.
We had friends and neighbors come in that knew how to tie a bow, and we put them straight to work.
Ann's Flower Shop wasn't the only business to spring into action.
I have experience making my own stickers and things out of my art, and I just figured this would be something to do to give back.
Love Letters in downtown Winder joined the effort.
I hope that we can all support each other, that we can all heal in a healthy way, and that we can support the families of those who died, and especially the people who experienced it and were injured.
Shelley Gosling has become one of the support beams in this community. But she gives credit to a different art duo, the Heirloom Sisters.
They painted their own windows and posted on social media, and then a bunch of local businesses were like, oh, we'd love to have that on our windows.
The Heirloom Sisters worked throughout the community to add this similar feeling to other businesses.
It was cool because we got to kind of look at those businesses and say, how does this reflect them? So it really felt personal from them.
Walking through the community can serve as a reminder of pain and love. These businesses and many others are making special efforts to unite.
I just hope that it shows that, there's more good than evil in the world.
This small town feel is more pronounced as the town is closer than ever.
It's really cool for me to see that I think people are kinder to each other. People are more positive.
Sports are another source of healing. Apalachee High's football team was hit hard with the killing of its defensive coordinator, Richard Aspinwall.
Coach Aspinwall was not defined by coaching. He was not defined by teaching. He was defined by being a wonderful husband and a wonderful father.
It took time for the team to come to terms with its loss, but the players returned to the field for its first home game on October 4th.
I just took a moment and just kind of looked at the crowd. Since I've been here, that's obviously the largest crowd that I've seen here, and just the outpouring of support from just the local community and other people just want to be here.
The Friday night lights were an escape, with a hint of star power with The Rock showing up for that first game.
High fives, laughing, giggling. It's been nice seeing the smiles and the laughs and the giggles and being students and having a good time.
It's a community working its way back to normalcy. A school trying to do the same.
Outside these walls, people love you, but this is our school. And we took it back, and when the doors close, we help each other.
These scars, as scars do, will remain. A reminder of this tragedy. But some say there is a way forward.
Okay, what's next?
What has begun through this tragedy isn't going to stop.
But when you let a little bit of light and a little bit of love come in, that's what Apalachee Strong is.
This school and this community is the community.
At first, I really did think hate was prevailing.
You said love will prevail. I meant it.
If we want love to prevail, we have to make it prevail.
Two things. If we don't have love and we don't have faith, what do we have?